Before we leave this example, I'd just like to show you a trick that I sometimes use in Microsoft Excel. In this example, we only had 5 elements to place inside our array. Occasionally, you'll need a lot more. For example, if you want all the US states in an array, or if you want every county in the UK, or every country in the world. When you're doing that, Excel becomes very useful because you can use Excel formulas to generate your VBA code. We've got an example in the exercises folder, so let's just minimize Word and go back to that. So in the section 5 folder, it's this second example, array variable formulas. So here we're going to do dim ASTR months, and we're going to use the 1 to 12, lowest index 1, highest index 12. And then all we've done is we've placed the index in column A. We've placed the actual text values that we want in each element in column B. And then here we've got a formula which uses column A and column B to generate the necessary VB code. So we start with an opening string. We use ampersand, as we've seen in VBA. It's exactly the same in Excel. And then we tag on the entry in column A. Then we put the closing parenthesis equals, and then we need quotes. So the same rule applies in Excel as in VBA. If you want quotes inside quotes, you simply double them up. So we've got 2 double quotes to generate the quotes that we need, and then we've got the closing quotation to actually close that string. Then we tag on the month name, and then we put the closing quotations. So we've got 4 of these in total, double quotations inside the regular opening and closing. So not too difficult, and obviously you just then copy that down, and Excel uses relative references to give you the necessary code. So we can copy all of this and use it in our next macro. So I'll return to full module view, make sure I'm at the bottom, and then do our second macro. And we'll just call it Excel formulas. So I'll begin by just pasting that in. Then let's declare a document and a counter. So having populated our array variables, let's create a new document. And then let's loop through our array, and for each element inside it, we'll put the month heading, and then we'll create a table using the code that we used in the last section. So let's put the skeleton of our loop for I equals. So as always, we need to say L-bound array, ASTR months, to U-bound array. Next, I. So let's go back to section 4 and just find some of this code to generate our headings. So this can be our month heading. So here we want to insert the month. And as we saw in the last example, we want to say each, and we do that by using I in parentheses after the name of our array. So it's going to be ASTR months brackets I. Then that goes in as heading 1. Now we want to create a table. So let's grab all of this. I'll just tab it across. And finally, let's insert our headings. So by placing all of that code into our loop, it's going to execute 12 times, but each time we'll have a different month as the heading that precedes the table. Before we can test our code, we've just got to make a couple of changes. The first thing is perhaps we should put some comments in. So here we insert heading paragraph, and here we create and format a table. And here insert table headings on row 1. So that code was fine when we were only creating one table. But what we now want to do is to create 12 tables, one for each month. So if we left our code as it is, each time we start the loop, we'll still be inside the table that we created on the previous loop. So clearly what we need to do after we've entered our table headings is to move to the end of the document. We need the equivalent of pressing Control and the End key. And you'll not be surprised to learn that VBA has a command that does exactly that. It's obviously going to be very similar to this one. But instead of move right, we use .end key. And then you'll see it's asking for the unit. To get to the end of the document, we use WD story. And then let's just insert a blank line. So we've got this code here, which inserts 2 blank lines. And we'll just copy that at the bottom. So now we should be good to go. We've adapted the code so it can be executed repeatedly without messing up. So let's save and test. And there we've got each of our month headings with a table under each month heading. So that's a look at how you work with arrays with a fixed number of elements. In the next video, we'll move on to look at how you can use arrays to cater for an unknown number of elements, and these are called dynamic arrays. Array variables are used to store a series of related values, in contrast to scalar variables, which are designed to store a single value. To declare an array, use the syntax array name x to y as data type, where x represents the lowest index and y the upper. To loop through an array, use the syntax for counter equals L-bound array name to U-bound array name. Statements, next counter.